Okay, let's start. I have started my best.
Yes, sir.
So yesterday we covered aspects, and today we'll see how to test it. Yeah, we'll see how we can test the APIs. Yeah, and then we'll see create, read, update, delete if they are actually working or not. Yeah. So let me open that. Okay, fine. So what we will do is in cap because we are creating APIs, right? So and it is by default, if you remember, it is OData v4. Yeah. So how you can check? So let's say if I run the server and I open this, okay. So every OData has some metadata, yeah, which talks about what all fields we have, what all annotations we have, things like that, what all entities we have, yeah. So currently, if you see in the, we have four entities, right? Customer, products, currencies, and countries. So, and if you see the path, okay, so OData v4 slash master. Yeah, if I open customer
Sir, I
and
think you're not showing your screen.
okay, my bad, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I have just started the server. Yeah, nothing great, and I've opened that application. So basically, what I'm saying, we have exposed these entities, and we can see this dollar
Yes, sir.
metadata link. And now, if you see the prefix, OData slash v4 slash master. I mean, by the path, path also you can see it is v4, but more details you can see dollar metadata. So if I go to customers, and if you see here, you see OData slash v4 slash master slash customers. Okay, this is the path. And okay, 1 second. Can you hear me? You can hear me, right? Okay. So here you have this OData slash v4 slash customers, but it is v4. I mean, as per the path. But let's check more on the metadata. If I just do this dollar metadata, click on this. So basically OData slash v4 slash master. So why master? So if you go to this master service, yeah, we didn't give any path, right? So where basically we have this OData service. So it automatically generated this path slash OData slash v4 slash master. Okay, let's say you had one more service, which I will show you in cup. Maybe not. Let's see. Yeah, let's say we had one more service, so there will be a different path for that. Okay, OData slash v4 slash whatever that service name is. Accordingly, this path will be generated. And after that, if you want to see the metadata, it is dollar metadata. And now, if you see, the version is 4.0. Okay, so that's how you can see what OData version we have. And now if you just see what, so it has things like entities, yeah. So first, if you see, is this entity container which has entity sets. Okay, so entity sets. So what is the difference between entity and entity set? Entity set is basically a collection, whereas entity is just one record. Okay, so if you see, if you, let's go to entity first. So if you see entities customers, the key field is ID, and then you have other properties: ID, created at, created by, modified at, and then the type. Yeah, it's a OData type. OData type, yeah, EDM. So whatever starts with EDM, these are OData types. And corresponding to this entity type, you have entity set. Here you see entity set customers. Okay, which is actually pointing to my, my service. Yeah, so when you do it like this, you are actually creating entity set. Okay, similarly you have products. Okay, and then if you see, uh, if I go to, for example, to my products, okay, it has the fields, But do you see other things called navigation property? Yeah. So it has navigation property, name is currency. Okay, so I can always basically in OData, if you want to get the associated data, like we have association, right? If you remember, even though we put it as type, but it's actually an association to this standard currencies entity, right? So if I want to go to that, I can basically any association will create in OData in navigation. Okay, so basically idea is that we you can get the associated entities data if you use this navigation property name. Okay, so I'll just put it as, for example, dollar expand is equal to currency. I'll show you, but basically you can always get the associated entity data by using this navigation property name. Okay, suddenly I have navigation property as text. Okay, so this is how you can see the metadata, and then at the last, oftenly at the last, you will have the annotations. So annotations over here we have simple annotations like the label. Yeah, we didn't even write, but these are standard, because we are using standard fields, standard basically aspect, right? Currency, country and currency. So a couple of annotations are automatically generated for us. Okay, but at the last you will see the annotations. All right. So things like that you will see. And then if you see common dot label, I mean, all of these are standard. Okay. So these, but you can always add your own annotation, right? We know that. So for example, let me add a, let's add a title property. If I go to master and let's say I give it a title. Okay. I can give it a at the rate. I think it is title. Yeah, title. And then okay, let me just recollect. So basically, you just need to give the, uh, the name. Okay. So if you open, I think it should be like at the title, and then I give my title. Let's say I call it as customer name. Okay.
So the title, sir, is that just something that when we're viewing it, it will show it as
Exactly.
that instead
Exactly.
of
Exactly. Exactly.
the actual column name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 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 So that way you can define a couple of titles. Okay. Can give probably an customer email. Let's see. Okay. So now if we checked, let's see how does it come now. So if I go there and I refresh, okay. So and if you go to, we have defined for customers, right? If I go to customers now, customers, okay. Or maybe I'll search this text. Yeah. If I search here, you see common dot label got added, right? Customer name, customer email, right? So I mean you can add this. Okay. All right. So this is what we mean by metadata, what all things you have. So annotations will mostly come at the last. Okay. So don't worry, we'll see more annotations, but I think this was good enough. So and then let's also talk a bit about I18N. Okay. So I can basically instead of because because in English you can call it as customer name, whereas in German you call it as customer name or something else, right? So you can have various descriptions, right, of the same same value, right? So you can go for I18N. Okay. So what I will do is I will do convert it as an I18N. Okay, I'll just say, so that's how you can use this I18N internalization. So I just say I18N and then give the probably like this. Okay, or maybe let's just see. So if I open cap documentation, Mm, mm, 1 second. Yeah. So if you go to CDS, somewhere they should mention this domain modeling, or you can also search. Yeah, there is a school, and you can search this topic of internationalization. Internationalization. Yeah. Let's see this internationalization support. Yeah, you see, at the title, uh, and yeah, probably here localization. Yeah, like this. Okay, it will be in quotes. Yeah. So I can give it like this. Okay. Similarly, let's do it for. And now, what do I need to do? So if you go read the documentation, you need to create this file. Okay, called i18n.properties. Okay, so this is how you can do. So you'll create a folder. Okay, we call it as localized bundles. Okay, basically a lot of files. Yeah. So you create this i18 and underscore, basically this folder name and then these files. Okay, so i18 and dot properties is kind of default. Yeah, default fallback if you don't have specified any, sorry, language specific text, it will use this default back, for a fallback default bundle. Okay, so let's do that.
Sir, I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing this, it's a I might just be like completely confused, but do you use the I18N or you could just use localized instead? Is that an and or thing,
Okay,
or they both
okay,
were
this
are two
is,
different things?
there are two different things. So localized, that keyword which you're talking about, that is, it generates a text table. Okay, for example, this description,
Okay.
it creates a text table. That is
Yes.
more for the value, right, description, whereas this is more
Yeah.
from UI. Let's think in terms of UI. Yeah, so when I open the app, if let's say I have a Fury app or
Okay.
a front end, if I open this app and if I log in German, I should see the German label, right? This is a label.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so if you check the metadata,
Yes.
it was a
Got it.
label.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so let's create these files. So first I will create, okay, a file which will be the fallback file i18n dot property. So if no language exists, please use this. Okay, so let's say name. Yeah, this was, so you basically key value pair. Yeah, so you define the key and then you give the value, how this key is coming from, whatever you have defined here. Okay, so this is my key and this is my value without quotes. Yeah, similarly I can do it for maybe for customer email i18n, and let's say I call it as the email. Yeah, and I give it as email equals to customer email. Okay, and then let's create the another file. Okay, which let's say for English language i18 and underscore en dot properties. Okay, so I'll copy this and paste, because in English it will be the same. So my fallback is English kind of text, right? So yeah, but you can decide what will be the fallback in which language. Yeah, let's say you want to give a fallback in German, right? Let's say you only work with German customers. So yeah, I mean that way you can define. So if there's no text, let's say somebody logs in Japanese language, yeah, and he definitely, we have not maintained the Japanese text, so he will see the this fallback text which is maintained as English. Okay, that way you can define. So let's create one more i18 and underscore the locale basically. Okay, so these DE, and all these are locale. Yeah, so maybe you see German. Okay, and it can also happen that let's say ZH is for China. You can have multiple languages being spoken here, right, in China. Yeah, traditional Chinese, for example, I think is TW. Okay, so like that, for example, in India you will put it as I, whatever is the country, locale, let's say IN underscore HI for Hindi, IN underscore, English for, English, IN underscore Marathi, that way you can have combinations also, yeah. So locale can be there, yeah. And then, they're also talking about where to keep, it's up to you. So I put directly, some people put this I18 folder in the SRV, I mean, a lot of places this gets picked up, okay. So let's say in German, I give something, okay, customer A something, okay, name A, email A, okay, something, yeah. So yeah, that's how you can, check. So now if I open the metadata again and I search for customer name, yeah, yeah, you see, customer, okay, maybe, yeah, this one, right? So it is still coming as it is. Okay, but definitely, you need to log into, so you can try this. I mean, I don't want to do it because otherwise, my browser, I'll have to restart and all those things. But try changing your language, okay, and you will see different, titles coming in, okay. So that is the job of this. Okay, so you can read more where to place and I mean, some people, it depends on the people. You see, some people are okay, they're saying they load IT and bundles from all of these, yeah, from app folder, from SRE folder, from DB folder, and from the root folder. So we have defined currently at the root level. Okay, fine. So let's go further. Now, what we will do is we will start testing the APIs. Okay, so before we test, one more thing I want to do is basically, currently, if you see customers and products entities, okay, so they are not draft enabled. So what do you mean by draft enablement? Basically, uh, whenever you imagine there is a UI, I know, I mean, I will talk a lot of things about UI, but let's imagine, yeah, we have a UI, and then you have, let's say, 50 fields to enter, and let's say you entered 10 fields, because it's a business thing, right? It's not an random thing that you can quickly fill in. It can take some time, right? You might think, okay, what will be the material code, what will be the product code. That way you might have to go here and there, talk to business guy, and something like that can happen, right? So it might take some time, and what happens is that, so this OData protocol, okay, so it is kind of fire and forget, yeah. So basically your data, let's say you come after 10 minutes. I mean, I don't know the how, I think it is even less, maybe 1 minute or a 2 minute, okay. So your data will be lost, yeah, if you don't save. But you can say, hey, I want to, it's going to take some time, so you enable this draft functionality, okay. So what happens is that moment you keep on entering, let's say you enter the first field, it will create a draft entity. You enter the second field, it will again create a it will update a draft entity, yeah. So basically there's another table, okay. So let me show you that. So what I will do is I will go to this customers, okay, and I just say at the rate, okay, I can say odata dot draft dot enabled. That's it. Okay, you just need to add this. What's going on here? Why this space comes? Okay. Ah, okay. Weird. Okay. So yeah. What's going on? Yeah. Okay. Fine. So odata dot draft dot enabled. So I've added this. Okay. Now, by the way, let's I don't know if I can use this. Ah, okay. Let me see if there is an extension for SQLite. Yeah. Uh, So I wanted to, okay, why it's still loading. Let me stop this, okay? So I want to show you, obviously now if you do, for example, yesterday's one, right? So I can always compile this service also, correct? So let's do that. So I just say cds compile, okay, SRV. So whatever is in SRV, compile that to SQL. Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay. Maybe not a slash. Or maybe we need to be in SRE folder. Yeah, okay. Let's go to SRV folder. Okay. Let me clear this and then I say CDS compile. Okay. So let's say, I don't know. CDS compile. Can I do it like this? Maybe I'm doing it wrong because this is a service, not really an. Yeah, okay. CDS compile and I say, let's put it at customers. So master service dot CDS, I think that way. Let's try that, okay? CDS compile this to SQL. Too many arguments. Yesterday we did the same thing, right? CDS compile to. Usually it works. Let me search for this. So I want to show you the draft table, which will get generated. Okay. So if we just search, okay, let me switch to node first of all, and if I just say search, okay, let's search for the syntax. This search is very helpful, yeah, especially if I keep on forgetting syntax, so it's very helpful for me. So I can just say CDS compile, yeah, this CDS compile to SQL, for example, okay. So CDS compile. CDS parse is also there, but let's open again CDS compile. Yeah, CDS compile. Okay, this is another way. CDS compile CLI. Yeah, CDS compile hyphen hyphen. CDS compile CLI. Okay. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. CDS compile. Ah, okay. And then, yeah, that's what I'm doing, right? DB slash. Okay. Maybe I can't compile a service, but I can always compile a data model. Let's just try. So if I do it like this, so our syntax was fine. Maybe it's a service, so it's not allowing me. So if I go back and I just say CDS compile, right? So CDS compile, and then they say the folder name and the file. So my folder is srv slash, yeah, schema.cds. So I have master service dot cds to SQL. Ah, yeah. It's loading a bit slow. Too many arguments. No idea why it is behaving like that. But if I try for, okay, it's little slow. Let me refresh. Yeah, yeah, okay. It does not work. But if I try for DB, for example, so DB slash uh, master.cds, yeah. Let's see if this works. Okay. Oh shit. What are you doing, man? This CDS. Hey, I think you're also not taking it. It is CDS, right? Why I'm writing CD? Oh my god. Okay.
noticed that, sir. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? It should be CDS, right? What are we, man, doing today? Okay.
Spelling mistake. Yeah.
CDS compile, so this will work. Yeah, and let's clear this and then I will go for uh yeah, master service, right? Somehow I'm feeling it is slow. Okay. So I will put a CDS compile, yeah. All right, here we go. So if you see, you have customers. So this is coming from my service, yeah. So it is having customers. So basically it will create table even for this. Don't think that only when you see having DB folder, only for those tables will be created, yeah. You can clearly see, right?
Yes, sir.
So over here, you see it is creating still couple of other tables. Okay. So we'll see,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
But my idea was, so I mean, apart from normal tables, so it is compiling both the things. Actually, if you see, right, master DB. So it is when you compile this, it is behind the scene compiling what is getting used. Okay. So if you see, you have normal tables which we already know which are coming from DB, but then you have other tables like text table. Okay. Sorry, not text, draft. Yeah, text you already seen. So if you see this draft table, it looks exactly what you have in customers, right? You have the same field, ID, created at, same, right? So these fields are same, but then I see a couple of other fields. Is active entity, has draft entity, and a draft UUID. Okay. So how this draft UUID will be populated? There is another table for draft, which is called as draft administrative data. Okay. So this is my draft UUID. Yeah. Primary key is draft UUID. So imagine there is a separate table. Not imagine, you can really see. So you see there's this draft UUID. So this will get populated. Okay. Moment I create, I did do anything, yeah, anything with customers. So it will create a draft entry over here, and that UUID will be populated over here in my draft table for the customers. Okay. And then, so basically, this table, this draft table is holding like, who created the draft. Okay. Is that draft logged? Who is processing that draft? Okay. So basically there is another table, and there is this kind of a foreign key from here, from my actual table draft to this draft admin table. There are two tables. Yeah. One is that main tables draft, and then there is draft administrative data table. Okay. So over here, you will have that UUID here. Yeah. Kind of foreign key to this. And then you have, let's talk about these three fields now: is active entity, has active entity, and has draft entity. So is active entity is basically, let's say you have saved the data, on your Fiori app, you have saved the data. So is active entity is true. Okay, basically it's an active entity. There are two entities. Either it will be an active entity or it will be a draft entity. Okay, let's say now you are editing that. So, it will keep on creating draft. Okay, so this draft table will get filled. Okay, will your whatever fields you're editing. Okay, you have not saved it, you're in the UI, you're just editing it, you have let's say edited the name field. Okay, and then you have not clicked upon the save. Okay, it will you're pressing tab, you're switching between the fields. Okay, so it will keep on updating this draft table. Okay, along with the field values whatever you're putting in, and then that time is active entity will be false. Okay, so this is active entity will be false because you are editing the draft. Okay, that's what we mean by is active entity. Okay, and then has draft entity will be true because you are having a draft now. Are you getting? Is active entity, has draft entity. Okay, so that's how all these fields.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Yeah, well, that's how all these fields help you in understanding whether you have a draft data or not corresponding to an active entity. So let's say you already have created, there will be an active entity which will be in my actual database. Yeah, which will be actually here, and which will be actually going to this actual table, and then you start editing, there is going to be another entity created in the corresponding draft table. Okay, so this one. So any table, if you have enabled draft for that, it will have the main table value and the draft value which will go in the draft table. Yeah, let's take it in a nutshell this way. Okay, so for any entity for which you have enabled a draft, You'll have a main table and you'll have a corresponding draft table holding the draft entries. Okay. All right. So now let's come back. So because we don't have UI, so I want to show you how you can create a how you can test these APIs. Yeah. So you can create a uh, let's say a file called it has to added with HTTP extension. So if you know Postman or any other tool for by which you do the API testing, okay, you can it's in a similar way, okay, but I don't want to install any Postman or anything like that. Let's say I want to test locally, and it's a good way, okay. In fact, developers like this, yeah. So it's very flexible. So I'll create an HTTP file which is as good as your Postman level testing. So I'll create this request to HTTP file. So extension has to be .http, yeah. And then mostly it goes in this root folder, but again it's up to you. And then here I can basically I can test my endpoints, okay, my OData API endpoints I can test. So let's just see. So via hash triple hash you give the comment, okay. So I'm saying this is my first request. So I just say this will help me in getting the metadata. This is my comment, get the metadata of the service, and after that you give the HTTP verb get, put, post, delete, whatever, right? So I just say get, okay, get. A moment I entered get, right, you see the send request button is enabled, okay. So we'll see. So I just say get, and I say because my application runs on localhost 4004, yeah, 404, and then I know the path of metadata. If you see this, it is this one, right? So I just copy this and paste it here, okay. And because it's going to be it's an XML, yeah, this is XML, these are XML tags. So I can add an accept keyword that I want to get back the XML accept application. Yeah, it is, you see, it is also suggesting, so that way it is very helpful. So here we have the first request added to my HTTP file. So now let's start the server. CDS watch. Yeah, and now if I okay, by the way, let's switch back to because I otherwise I always do it like this, right? CDS, the moment I make any data model change, I need to do like CDS deploy to SQLite, right? So this always you need to do, okay. So I don't want to do this, so I'll come back. So probably I go to packaging and change this to SQL, right? So we created this profile yesterday, right? So by default now it will be in memory database. So I just say CDS watch. So it is my in memory now, yeah, in memory. And now what I will do is I will try to get a metadata. I'll click upon the send request, and you see
So
that
when
it
it's not in memory, sir, sorry, sir, quick question, right? When it's not in memory, you always have to keep deploying your
yeah,
changes
yeah,
through the
exactly,
database. Is that what it is?
exactly. So your changes might not be
Okay.
reflected, yeah. So you always have to deploy because it's a persistent
Yes, sir.
database, yeah. It will not overwrite without your
Yes,
permission.
yes.
Basically, that's the idea, okay. So it does not want you to have some destructive change, right? Similarly, let's say you have a HANA database, even though we have not seen that. Let's say tomorrow, once we start deploying this app, right? It will need your permission. Do you want to create new tables? Do you want to, let's say, you added a new column, you deleted a column, right? It can get very complex, right? What should happen to existing data, right? So should the existing data
Yes,
be
sir.
deleted? So things like that will be there. So that's why mostly you will use the CDS deploy to HANA or CDS deploy to SQL. Yeah. But to HANA, you will not even write that, because once you deploy your application, it will automatically run that command behind the scene, CDS deploy hyphen hyphen to HANA. Okay. So now if you see this metadata, it's same. Yeah. You see same thing we had here, right? Yeah. But the good thing is that I am still in my development environment, right? It's always easy to be within your development environment, right? So this is my response. So I send this request, I get this response, and it's a get request for the metadata. Okay, fine. Let me close this. Let's add one more. And let's say I want to know, maybe about customer. Okay, I'll give a space and I just say, basically I come to next line, line number 5 I am right now. I give another command. I just say get the uh, get the metadata of, let's say, customer. Okay, let's see. I'm just trying. So the customer and another thing, yeah. And I just say get, yeah, same like before. HTTP. So don't stop your server. Just start your server, and you can keep editing, and you can see what will happen. You know, 4404, and this time I just say for my customer. Let's see what happens. Accept application slash XML. Okay. And this time you see not found. Okay. So what is the issue? Localhost 4004. So if I open this, so usually, okay, it is customers. Okay, S. Okay. Our data slash v4 slash customers. Yeah, the path I have picked it up from here. Yeah, so slash customers. Okay, let's try this. Actually, we are wrong here. It is not a metadata, it is the data. Okay. So, this one, right? This URL, if I hit it, I'm getting what? The data, right? So it's not metadata. So I'm wrong. It's a get the
Yes,
data of
sir.
the
It's the
customer.
actual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the actual data. So now if I send request, what is the issue? Localhost slash master. Okay, we have one more master. Yeah, sorry. Now let's send, and here you go. Yeah, even though I said, accept application XML, it is still giving me application JSON. Yeah, so probably we can remove this. It is not accepting. See, OData v4, it will give you in JSON. Okay. So then let's say I want to get the data of a particular customer. Let's see that. Okay. So what I will do, basically this ID, yeah, how I can pass this. So let me copy this and I say get the data of a single customer. And here I can pass. So in this brackets, you need to pass the key field. Okay. So it will be like ID equals to this ID what we have. Let's, because it's an array, right? So previously you're getting all the customer data. Now I want to get a single customer data. The key I'm specifying here. Okay. So ID will be this. Okay. And then there is also one more thing which you should pass, kind of a key, is this is active entity. You see this?
Yes, sir. I see it.
Is active entity equals to the value. So it is an active entity, right? Because it's saved in database. Okay. Now if I send, you see I'm getting the same record. Okay, so that's how I can get data of a single customer. Now let's send the post request. So basically I have to create the data. Okay, hash create customer. Okay. So this time it's going to be a post request, right? So post and then HTTP localhost, same thing, yeah. So I'll copy this. Okay. And then I need to pass the JSON, right? Basically. So what all fields we have? So if I go to my DB and these values, right? Name, email, phone, and address, correct? So maybe I'll copy from here. I'll come here. So then I just say content type is application JSON. Okay, so I'm passing a JSON so that it can create, and then within this JSON I'll specify the field values. Okay, so it will be in quotes. So name, email, phone, and address. Okay, so I'll just give these values. So name is, let's say, yeah, something. Email, okay, yeah, some email I'm specifying, and then phone number. So phone number is again a string, right? So yeah, whatever, yeah, 1 2 3 4, yeah, and then the address. Yeah, let's say Delhi. Okay, now let's try to send this, but you will see uh, a strange thing. Okay, so because it is draft enabled, right? So let's see what happens. Okay, so I think I need to. Okay, so let's say it is okay. I'll send this request. Let me close this and let me send. Now, if you see, okay, there is an issue. Oh, sorry, it will be a comma here. Okay, fine. Now let's send this. Still in com. What is going wrong here? Unexpected token. Maybe there is a lot of space and all those things are the issue. Here, I don't know. Let me. It should not matter, but okay. Let's try. Is there any other space? Unexpected token is not a valid JSON. What is wrong here? Okay, let me put in double quotes. Yeah, I think it has to be in double quotes, not in single quotes. Okay. Yeah, let's try this. Yeah, so we have created it, but if you see, it is active and it is false, right? You expect this to be true. But why it is that? Because it is actually it has created a draft. You see this? Dot draft. If you see, right? I mean, you see, it is basically talking something about draft, right? So next thing what we should do is activate the draft. Okay. So let's just do that. I'll just say activate the
Which
draft.
is mimicking what would happen in a UI, right, sir?
Exactly,
Basically, because
exactly.
we don't
Because
have
we have
the
enabled
UI
the
to activate it.
exactly,
So
exactly. We are making it via this HTTP client. Yeah. So this time again a post. Okay. So only thing is that we need to do it like this. Yeah, like this. So it will be a single customer, right? Which you want to activate. Is active entity will be false, right? And then the ID, what ID we have got is this. Okay. And then you need to call a function. Okay. So which will be because if you just do it like this, right, it will simply give you the draft. Okay. So if okay, first of all, it's a post request. Basically, I need to call a function. Okay. So how you do that? So you just put it after slash. Okay, we'll talk about action and functions, but imagine there's a thing called function. There's a standard action or a function, whatever you want to called draft activate. Okay, which you need to suffix. Okay, in your endpoint. So I'll just say it is master service, right? So it is in master service, and then dot draft activate. So this is my action name. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so that's how, and you can do this, and then you also need to send an empty JSON. I'll just say content type is application JSON, and I need to send a blank JSON because I'm just interested in calling this section. Yeah, draft activate. Let's see if it works. So let me send this. I'll close this. Then let's try again. Finally, you see now. So with the same ID, now you have got is active entity true. Now you're getting my point. So we have activated the draft. So now I can get this also, right? So previously, if you would have tried, right? Uh, let's say here, right? So I should be able to get this newly created customer, right? Is active entity equals to true. And we are getting the customer which we have created, right? Is active entity is true. Are you understanding now? Active
Yes,
entity,
sir.
draft entity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You can always, let's
Yeah.
say, you want
So,
to get the draft data, you can just put is active entity equals to false. Okay. But
yes, sir.
let's see if you have any draft, right? Yeah, you see, not found. There's no draft right now. It's all active for this,
Yes, sir.
customer ID. Yeah.
So I have a question, right?
Hmm.
So, like, I get what you're saying, but in like other services and web apps and stuff, they do like this caching, right? So is that what's kind of happening on the back end here, or
Yeah,
not really?
every time you edit a field, this,
Yeah.
think like, you know, similar to this, maybe a post call or a put call or a patch call will be going, okay, depending upon, first time it will create the draft. So a post call will go like this. Next time it is going to be a put, yeah, instead of post, yeah, like that. So it will automatically do that in the front end. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
that's
Yes,
the
sir.
power
Got it.
of that Fury element. So basically, I mean, it's not a cache. It is actually sitting to your database table, right? We saw the draft table. So the content
Yes.
will be updated there. Yeah. And moment you activate, the content from the draft table will be removed, for that record, and it will actually come in
And just
my
move to the
active table.
actual.
Active table.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, sir.
So this activate draft will call also. I'll show you in the front end. Okay, I'll show you this. How I know this, yeah. So I don't think it is even mentioned here. Let's see in the cap document. So this coming from my experience, yeah. And believe me, not many people know this. Okay, you can try asking. Okay, let's see. Okay, they have given this, but you need to know, right? Where are they activating? Yeah, you see. Okay, but I found it out from Fiori app. Okay, I did the reverse engineering. Okay, so over here it is slash draft activate, but we have given the service name. Probably this is also fine. Yeah. Okay, but it falls under Fiori UIs, right? So this is the single place where you should search, where you should try to understand. Yeah. No matter how much I teach you, it will not be enough, right? We know that. So yeah, whatever is needed, I'm showcasing. Okay, fine. So I think that's it. So today we have learned about I18N, right?
Yes,
International
sir.
version. We have talked about draft entities. Yeah, and we also talked about HTTP client. Okay. Yeah. So tomorrow it is going to
Yes,
be
sir.
a little, yeah, more interesting. So things are getting interesting now, right? So, yeah.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
So I think now it is the time where you can, if you want to learn something on your own, let's say you go to domain modeling, I mean, the place is yours, okay? You can read about best practices.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you see. Some people are creating, types unnecessary. Yeah, that's what they say, keep it simple, stupid. So like that, you can see what has to be, for example, over here, unnecessary, company details, if they have created a type, you see bad. Okay, you create a type and you refer that against a field. So why don't you simply have string over here? Okay. I mean, you can start appreciating, maybe read more. Yeah. Okay. You see, prefer
Yes,
UUID.
sir.
I've already told you, do not interpret UUIDs. Yeah. Don't try to understand what is UUID. Okay. It's just saying that prefer UUIDs for keys. I told you this principle, right, in beginning. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then yeah.